You meet someone. You've met them before, maybe 2, 3 times, and their name is just gone, not even close to coming back, just completely missing, like it was never there in the first place. So what do? You smile. You angle your body just right. You pray someone else in the room says their name first. You hope their phone rings. You secretly wish something, anything, would happen to save you from this moment. Sound familiar? Here's the truth, and it might surprise you. People who forget names all the time are not rude. They are not careless, and they are definitely not as unintelligent as they've quietly been made to feel. Something very specific is happening in their brains, and once you understand it, you'll never feel the same shame about it again. So let's start at the beginning. When you meet someone new, your brain is not relaxed. It is working overtime. It is reading that person's face, picking up their tone, figuring out whether they like you, whether you like them, and planning what you're going to say next, all at the exact same time. And right in the middle of all that mental chaos, someone hands you a single piece of information. Their name. Hi, I'm Kevin. Kevin. Okay. But here's the problem. Kevin means nothing. It doesn't connect to anything you already know. It doesn't trigger a feeling or a memory or an image. It just floats there, completely alone, in a brain that is already packed full and frankly too busy to babysit one arbitrary sound. Think about it this way. You probably remember the last time someone said something that genuinely moved you. You remember where you were standing, what the light looked like, maybe even what you were wearing. But you likely cannot remember every name on the guest list from that same evening. Your brain made a quiet decision about what was worth keeping, and the names did not make the cut. This is actually backed by science. A 1987 study introduced something called the Baker-Baker paradox. One group was told a person in a photo was a baker by profession. Another group was told the same person's surname was Baker. Days later, the people who learned the job remembered it easily and clearly. The people who learned it as a name, not so much. Same word, completely different result. Because the job, Baker, paints a picture. Bread, flour, early mornings, the warmth of an oven. The name Baker paints absolutely nothing. And your brain, the efficient machine that it is, holds tightly onto things that mean something and quietly releases things that don't. Names, by their very nature, are empty. And your brain was never designed to treasure empty things. Now here is where it gets a little more personal. A big reason many people forget names is not laziness. It is anxiety. While someone is introducing themselves, the name forgetter is already deep inside their own head. Am I making enough eye contact? Was that handshake too firm? Did I just interrupt them? Am I smiling too much or not enough? The name comes in, and the internal noise bulldozes straight over it before it ever has a chance to settle. A 1973 study actually proved this. People waiting for their turn to speak in a group barely remembered what the person directly before them said because mentally they had already moved on. They were rehearsing, editing, preparing. People who live with social anxiety or even just a very active self-awareness are stuck in that mode permanent, never fully here, always half a step ahead into what comes next. So if that sounds like you, here is the reframe you didn't know you needed. You don't have a memory problem. You have a preoccupation problem. And those are two very, very different things. Here is something else worth saying, and it matters. When your name gets forgotten, it stings. Even when you know it shouldn't, even when you understand the science behind it, there is still that quiet little voice that whispers. There is still that quiet little voice that whispers, you didn't matter enough to stick. That feeling is real and it deserves to be acknowledged. But here is what is also true. The person who forgot your name probably went home and thought about your conversation. They remembered what you said about your job, your sister, your weird opinion about something small that turned out to be surprisingly interesting. They were there. They were genuinely there. They just missed the one part that, honestly, tells the least about who you actually are. People who forget names are often the same people who remember everything else. The look on your face when you said something that mattered. The specific way you laughed at a joke. That one take you had that they are still thinking about 3 days later. Their brain was busy cataloging everything real about you. Emotions, stories, energy, presence, and simply skip the label. That is not a flaw. That is just a different kind of mind. One that is built for emotional depth, for genuine listening, for the kind of attention that makes people feel truly seen and understood. It is just poorly suited for the one mechanical task of holding on to what someone was called at the exact moment everything else was happening. And here is the good news. You can absolutely get better at it. Say the name back out loud the moment you hear it. Connect it to someone you already know or a vivid image that sticks. Build the association manually that your brain refused to build on its own. These tricks work because you are deliberately doing what your mind skips automatically, creating a bridge between that new name and something that already has a home in your memory. But more importantly, stop carrying the guilt. Forgetting a name does not make you a cold, dismissive, or uncaring person. It makes you someone whose brain prioritizes differently, gets caught up in its own internal weather, and sometimes drops the single, least meaningful detail about another human being. The arbitrary sound their parents picked for them before they had done a single thing worth remembering. The name was always the least of it. What you actually remembered about them, the real, textured, human stuff, that part was never missing. That has been there the whole time.